Hi everybody. Today we are gathered to do another fireside chat on how can we leverage private providers in X-ray based screening. I'm Jay, Director Global Health Operations at Qure.ai, and today I have with me Kinz Eman, who is the Chief of Party at Dopasi Foundation. Welcome, Kinz, and if you could give your introduction.
Hi, so glad to be here and joining you guys. So I'm Kinz Eman. I am a public health expert. I work for the Dopasi Foundation in Pakistan, and we were the first global deployer of artificial intelligence with ultra-portable X-ray technology ever in the globe.
Great. So today we talk about private sector engagement. What do you see some of the barriers in private sector engagement for X-ray based screening, and if tools like AI can help overcome them?
So I feel when we talk about private sector engagement, especially in the traditional models, one thing that keeps coming up is sure, the big private sector hospitals have the funding that they can invest into getting the digital X-rays, getting the artificial intelligence deployed there. However, when we see the private providers, the GPs, the pulmonologists, they might not have that kind of money to invest. Especially, yes, sure, we understand that in the longer run, it's more cost effective. However, the seed funding that is required at the first instance is a huge barrier.
Okay, I see you talked about funding, but then tools like artificial intelligence and others can help overcome them or at least support them. So, what do you think are some of the digital health tools that can be used with the private sector and can be leveraged to increase TB case notifications or help in X-ray based screening?
So one thing that comes to my mind is that we deployed the cloud-based technologies. Like we have the one X-ray unit, and then we have the cloud spaces that are feeding into that. If maybe in terms of public-private partnership with the NTPs, with the big hospitals, we have satellite centers where one can deploy the solution and others can also leverage, get their X-rays read right there. That might be an effective way to overcome this kind of barrier.
Got it. No, I totally agree. And you rightly mentioned with your experience. And I've always been impressed by the work that Dopasi Foundation actually does. If you could throw light on some of the work that you're doing with marginalized communities, and how do you think that the private partnerships or the private sector engagement is actually ensuring health equity amongst this? So, it will be helpful.
Sure. So thank you for that. The Dopasi Foundation is working on multiple key vulnerable populations. We have used ultra-portable X-rays with artificial intelligence for screening in prisoners, refugees, coal miners, transgenders. We have done screening not only for finding people with TB, but also in terms of key vulnerable populations. We do screening to rule out active TB, and then we initiate preventive treatment. So the role of artificial intelligence and X-ray has been key in all our interventions, because in when you talk about vulnerable populations, access has been a huge barrier throughout. But these technologies, coupled with the expertise from the private sector, can actually fill this gap, can actually improve the access of the people who really need it to these technologies. And and that is where actually for me equity comes in, because if it's equal, then giving a tertiary care facility an X-ray will be there. For these populations, from the equity aspect, we have to actually go take an extra step and go there to sort of to provide them with the care that they need.
No, absolutely. And I think health equity is of importance, and it has to be somewhere a top-down approach, sometimes bottoms-up approach. Talking about top-down approach, because there are governments involved, there are national TB programs involved, ministries involved. What do you think, some of the policy changes that you might have seen, or how a policy change can actually lead to more public-private sector engagements and actually help in X-ray based screening, can implement frameworks through AI deployments or ultra portable X-rays like you mentioned. But if somebody today has to define a framework around policies that could actually benefit the communities, what do you see as some of the levers that one should
A
aim for?
core thing that is just coming on top of my mind is in Pakistan, I think somewhere around 50 or 60% of the people diagnosed with TB are coming to a clinical diagnosis, not a bacteriological confirmation. So clinical identification at 80% of the times is happening on X-ray. Sometimes you do a follow-up CPR, CRP or something, C-reactive protein or something. However, mostly it's coming through X-ray. So let's say if I were to change a policy, I would maybe use the, what do we call it, hub-and-spoke model, where you have one site and then you link the sites with it. So maybe I can have one deployment of an artificial intelligence software. I can give the private providers those technologies, and I'll have in real time if the X-ray was actually presumptive to start up with to give a clinical diagnosis. And just like the way we get the gene expert results as an evidence of a person with bacteriological TB, we start gathering the database as well, and there will be a uniformity in terms of diagnosis that is being happening, and we can define, like, let's say for example, a CAD score of so and so is somebody that you can follow up for being TB. Let's say for example, like for the reports that we get from Qure, there are multiple indicators, so you can identify the right. So these 4 indicators is a person suggestive of TB. So I would go for that kind of a policy change. And for me, and through my whole work, I have the excess in my mind. So excess, and then when you improve access, that too with quality of care ensured and provided. And I think if we have these tools, leveraging on these tools and providing the access to all, because without engaging private sector, you can never cover the whole of population. So even from an equity standpoint, I would say that providing these opportunity, providing these tools to the private sector is going to change the landscape as we move forward.
No, rightly said, and very happy to hear that, it has to be about access. And like the framework you mentioned, I think that really works. But just before going, and this is my final question, you spoke very passionately about the communities that you've been impacting. Any key example or any interesting example that comes to your mind that has actually led to affect a patient life through these tools, through these engagements? And I think that would be the best closure to this.
I have actually started a couple of presentations. We were working, I think 3 years back, almost 3 years back, I was working to stop the partnership TBD initiated in coal miners. And it's 80% of coal miners in Pakistan come from this district called Sangla in Qure.ai province.
Yes.
We were screening there and we found a person with X-ray suggestive of TB. And then we were discussing, we initiated the treatment and everything. And I was just there for my monitoring, and I got introduced to a female. And she started saying, "Oh my God, you're an angel, you're this, you're that." I was like, I literally got overwhelmed. What? And I was interested in exploring more. Where is she coming from? So she said that my mom started spitting blood-stained sputum. At that time, we never knew that TB exists, or there is something that can lead to that. And her mom was told that she is jinxed, or she has some taboo on her, because of which this evil spirit has kind of taken over her, and she's spitting blood. And she was thrown out of her home, separated from her children and everything. So she said, coming in this area, we never ever thought that an X-ray can actually open up the picture that we are not jinxed, we are not taboo, rather we are people, and it's a disease that can be cured. So that is something that I cannot take the reflection out of my mind, like thinking that you are sitting in an area just to believe that you are the jinx and you should be thrown out of your home. No one should have to face that.
Oh my God, that is a wonderful example. And I think awareness and access both lead to Both opens doors to a lot of possibilities, but I'm sure that through X-ray based screening and the work that you are fantastically doing in Pakistan would definitely help these kind of people and break these notions ahead. But Kinz, thank you so much for your time. It has been a pleasure, and I'm sure our viewers would learn about this. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.